Welcome to Earlville Library District's Yarn Craft Club. Today, we're making yarn-wrapped rainbows. If you're interested in joining us at the library to make your own, sign up for our in-person March 2023 dates. If those dates don't work for you, you're always welcome to use this tutorial and follow along with your own supplies at home. Let's get started. Here are the supplies you'll need to make this project. First, we'll cut some white yarn and roll it up inside a square of packing paper. You can either measure 16 strands of 12-inch white yarn, or you can use a template like I did. I cut a 16-inch length of cardboard. The cardboard is longer than the strand because the yarn stretches when you wrap it. I found that 16 inches of cardboard ends up producing 12-inch strands after being wrapped. Wrap your yarn around the template 8 times. Trim the excess yarn away. Then hold one edge of the cardboard and the wrapped yarn and slide your scissors underneath the strands and to the opposite edge of the cardboard. Snip all of those wrapped strands. Now you can remove the cardboard but keep the yarn in a bundle and snip them all in half together. This should leave you with 16 strands of 12-inch yarn, and I find it a bit quicker than measuring by hand. Arrange all of the strands so that they lay nice in a straight line of equal length in a bundle. This next step is optional. You can use 2 mini rubber bands to secure your bundle at either end. This makes the bundle a little easier to handle when rolling, but is not necessary. If you decide to use the rubber bands, make sure to leave several inches of tail at either end. This way, the rubber bands will be hidden inside the roll. Next, grab your 7-inch by 7-inch piece of packing paper. I think any kind of paper will work here. And run a line of hot glue along one 7-inch edge. Press the bundle, centered, down onto the strip of hot glue. Be careful not to burn your fingers with hot glue seeping through the yarn. Once set, fold the edge of the paper to cover about half of the yarn. Crease the paper. Fold again to cover just about the other half of the yarn. Then begin rolling your paper into a log tightly. When you reach the other edge of the paper, you can either tape your tube shut or run another bead of hot glue along the edge and gently press together to seal. Now, grab the color of yarn you'd like to use for your innermost arch. Tape the end of the yarn to the end of the log just above the white yarn. Pinch the paper tube near the tape to squash it into a smaller, denser tube. Begin wrapping the yarn tightly around the edge of the tube a small distance away from the edge. In order to keep the yarn from slipping off the edge of the tube, I run a bead of hot glue around the very edge and wrap the yarn towards the glue and to cover it. Wait a moment for it to set, then I continue wrapping in the other direction. Wrap the yarn tightly and close together all along the rest of the length of the tube. I found that it helped to press the paper tube together as I went. The paper will crunch under the pressure of the wraps, and that's okay. I checked my tube as I went to make sure everything was coming out about the same size. This color yarn for me was very thin and took a while to reach the edge. The bigger the yarn, the quicker you'll reach the other end. I recommend that regardless of the thickness of yarn you choose, make sure all the colors of yarn for each arch are the same size. This will allow them to fit together better in the end. With just a little bit of space left at the other end, run another bead of hot glue around the edge. Wrap the yarn to cover and wait a moment for it to set. Then you can add a few more wraps to fill in any gaps, pinch the yarn in place, and snip off, leaving a few inches of tail. I made a light knot by wrapping the tail around the project and my fingers to create a loop. Then send the tail of yarn underneath that loop and pull tightly to close. Snip off excess. Bend the arch into a rough arch shape and set aside. For the next largest arch, we are going to repeat this process with a new color yarn and slightly larger supplies. You'll use 16 strands of 14-inch yarn. For this, my cardboard template was 18 inches long to accommodate for stretch. Roll this bundle inside the 9-inch by 7-inch piece of packing paper, placing the glue on the longest edge. Repeat the same process as before to complete this arch. Refer to the first set of instructions for a more detailed explanation of any of the steps. For the next largest arch, we'll use 16 strands of 16.5-inch white yarn, and my cardboard template for this was 19 3/4 inches long. Repeat the bundling and wrapping process with your next arch color and set aside. Remember to glue and roll along the longest edge. The last arch will use 16 strands of 18.5-inch white yarn. For this cardboard template, I reused the 16-inch template and wrapped the yarn 16 times around. I will not cut this yarn in half. After snipping one edge of the strands off of the cardboard, I'll leave the middle intact. This will give you 16 strands of yarn twice as long as the template, which is a little too long, but it saved me from making a giant template, and you can just cut off the excess at the end. Use the 12-inch by 7-inch piece of paper and repeat the bundling and wrapping process with the last arch color, gluing on the longest edge. With all of the arches prepared, we'll begin the assembly process with the two smallest. I like to get a rough fit before I use the glue. Set your arches inside one another and bend them into the desired shape and line up each so the arches are centered. Run a bead of glue along the edge of the smallest arch that will touch the next arch. Set the arch on your workspace and slide it up to meet the next largest arch. Press the project together and flat and bend it into the desired shape while it sets. It helps to work on a surface that the glue won't stick to. Repeat this process with the next two arches. Now the basic form of the rainbow is complete. Your project should look something like this. Now we'll trim the white yarn, or the clouds of the rainbow, and comb them into fluff. Rake the comb through the white yarn, starting at the edges so that it frays. Comb to your desired preference. Bits of yarn fluff will likely come off during this process, and that's fine. This fluff can be discarded. Make sure to flip your rainbow over and comb the other side too. Once your clouds are fully fluffed, use the scissors to do a final trim to shape the clouds. Fold a 6-inch piece of jute in half and hot glue the ends to the top middle of the back of the rainbow. And now it's time to add your embellishments. You can decorate your rainbow however you like. At the library, we used some cutouts we created using our Cricut. And that's it! We hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. Remember, if you'd like to come make this craft in person at the library, we have 2 March 2023 dates available. Give us a call and sign up if you're interested. Also, check out all of the other fun craft videos we have available on our YouTube channel. Thanks for watching!